Hey guys, it's Miika.
And Mary.
Alright, and today we're going to be making our first vlog. It's going to be pretty broad, but we are going to talk about 3 broad topics and be talking about the importance of them and just some basics about these topics. What are the 3 topics?
Number 1 is the basics and importance of budgeting. Number 2 is importance of saving up an emergency fund and building your savings up. Number 3 is developing a second or residual income stream. Hey, thanks for checking out our video.
Yeah, thank you. Just make sure that you destroy that like button, give us a subscribe and a comment, and we will talk to you in the comments. If you have any questions about these topics that we're talking about, just let us know. We'll do our best to get you an answer and give you our opinion and thoughts on whatever you ask us. So let's talk about some basics of budgeting and why it's important. We'll also talk about some of the mistakes that we see people make that get them into trouble with their budget. You can start.
Okay, so for the basics and importance of budgeting, it's as simple as this. Basically, you have to know how much you have, how much you're going to spend, and then how much you're going to save. So basically, just track everything that you're doing. Don't just frivolously just go out and spend everything.
Yeah, so that's some really broad stuff about budgeting, and we're going to go into more detail in other videos. We just wanted to talk about some really broad stuff for this one. Let's talk about some of the mistakes that we see people make that get them into trouble with their budget. So we've met people and we've had conversations with people that they don't know what they're doing with their money. They don't realize how much they're spending and what they're spending their money on. And so what will happen is they'll get to the end of the month and they'll go, oh, we need to buy this, something broke, and then they don't have any money because they've blown it all on Starbucks. It's because you're not keeping track of your money and you don't have a set amount set aside that you're going to use to purchase items throughout the month. So we'll get more into detail in that, like I said. But let's talk about the importance of an emergency fund.
Basically, like if something were to come up, like with your car, or you were to need to replace the tires, just all of a sudden, or for us, our washing machine just went out all of a sudden and you need like an extra $500. It's important to have just a set of funds, preferably at least $1,000 set aside so you don't have to worry about stuff like that.
Yeah, just in case something breaks or you have an emergency or something that you need to use some money for. That way you're not scrounging or trying to pay with a credit card and then you're stuck with a potentially massive credit card bill. You don't want that because that's going to tank your credit score and you're going to be in debt and it's just going to be compounding interest.
You're going to owe a lot more.
Yeah, it's not going to be fun. So you need to be setting up an emergency fund of at least $1,000. And then I would suggest anything that is over $1,000 that you're saving, that you're able to save, I would get a separate savings account from the emergency fund money. And I would say preferably a high yield savings account. There are some really good high yield savings accounts. Personally, we use Synchrony Bank. There are some other banks that have high yield savings as well, but we'll get into more detail in other videos about that as well. So let's talk about the last topic of why it's important to build a separate stream of income outside of your standard job.
If you're just relying on your full-time regular job, then what if something happens and you don't have that job anymore? It's great to have a different income, to rely on. And as far as like retirement, do you want to wait until you're 70 to retire, or would you like to have a separate income coming in to where you can have more freedom before that, spend time with your family, travel?
Yeah, a lot of people, I feel like a lot of people, because they don't even think about their budget in the first place, they probably don't even think about their retirement, and if they do, they probably don't know what to do, or they're just relying strictly on their company 401k.
And most people are just living straight up month to month. They don't save anything at all.
Right. So building a second stream of income or a residual income stream is super important to being able to potentially maybe retire early, travel, and maybe work online or something along those lines. There's a whole bunch of different things that you can do for residual income. You could do photography, you can do tutoring, You could sell jewelry, artwork, any other things you could think of?
There's a variety of, like you said, different things online that you could do, or if you have a hobby, like you're saying.
There's a whole bunch of different things, so it all really depends on your skill set and what you're good at. But I would definitely recommend developing a second or residual income stream. There are, of course, other things that you can do as well that are more in depth, like investing in stocks, but you gotta have an emergency fund and savings in order to do that properly. Real estate, which takes a lot more money and time and requires, again, savings, because that's a big investment. So there's all kinds of smaller things too, and we'll explore some of that in later videos. But yeah, so those are some of the 3 broad topics about like budgeting and personal finances that we wanted to talk about. So we hope you guys found this video
Helpful?
Enlightening, helpful, educational. We'll be making more, diving deeper into this topic, and sharing some of the stuff we've learned and experienced along the way.